intro here. Stand by. Welcome in. It's the Pallazzo Podcast, Prospects Power Half Hour. Michael Govier, Phil Goyette, live and uncensored here on a Tuesday afternoon. Welcome to the show. Good to have you aboard. 2 L's, 2 Z's, Pallazzo Podcast on Twitter,
Give me two.
the YouTube channel. We got a Discord. We got a Patreon. We have all of these things for you. If you want to know about them, I could drop links in the live chat, which you guys can participate in right now. Or you can go to our Twitter handle, Pallazzo Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's.
Utah.
Phil Goyette,
Give me two.
live and uncensored from Ireland. It is now, what?
Yeah.
Just over a week away from opening day. You getting pumped? You getting jazzed?
9 days. Yeah, I'm very, very excited. We're in the middle of draft season. I hope everybody's having a great draft time. Our home redraft league, we always draft on opening day eve. So that'll be going on next Wednesday night. It'll be a good time. Kind of a strange, I put it out on Twitter to fill, I don't know, like 5 spots or something. And this guy said, "Oh, I'm in." I said, "Okay, great." And then he DM'd me the next morning. He goes, "Oh, by the way, can my friend Carlos get in on this too?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. Why not? Bring your friend in." He was like, "Okay, here's his email. It's Carlos Marcano at Gmail." I don't know if you follow Carlos. Right? Yeah. Oh, great. Carlos. Yeah, that'll be sweet to have him in. So Carlos is in now, which is great. So it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun to be in the league with him. You know, I'm sure I'll be, like I said, I'm happy now. And then in August, when he's 10 points clear at first place, I'll be like, why did I have this asshole in the league?
I mean, maybe it goes your way, Phil. Who's to say?
Yeah, who knows? I've never won this one. This is year 5. Maybe. I haven't won it yet.
Maybe not. Maybe fuck yourself.
Yeah, maybe that too. I don't know. Either way, Carlos is a great guy. I love Carlos big time. He was a fantastic writer. He's been verified by the FSWA as an elite writer, so that's cool to have him aboard. But he does know his shit. He's a really good player.
Yeah. Knows his math, which always scares me when you get somebody mathy in there like that. You know, was that a drop from The Departed? Was that
I believe it is. Right?
Character?
Let's hear that again.
Maybe not. Maybe fuck yourself.
I think so. Yeah, that is correct. Very good, Phil. You nailed it.
I'm the guy who does his fucking job. Who the fuck are you? There's some great lines in that movie.
Oh, I got a bunch of them. Yeah, there's more where that came from. The Departed is a gift that provides a lot of audio for the show that I added more just recently. So you'll be hearing more of that as we continue forth on the Pallazzo Podcast. By the way, I have reduced the name on Spotify and Apple Podcasts now. It's just called Pallazzo Podcast. Instead of the Hey, It's Enrico Pallazzo Fantasy Baseball Podcast, I just minimized it. You know, Pallazzo Podcast is what we are called now. So if you look for it on Google or wherever you look for podcasts, it'll just be called Pallazzo Podcast. That's it. Charlie Flynn's here. What's up, Charlie? Live from Oregon.
Hey, Charlie.
Having a good time. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, we kind of had the bust of auction. Our Dynasty League year 3, we do a live auction every year. So Sunday night, got all the horses in line, got to the starting gate, and then Fantrax took a big dump for about 2 straight hours. We couldn't do it.
2 hours?
It was terrible. It was not.
Sometimes I get like I'm angry when I'm excited, okay?
I would have been angry. Yeah.
It was not working, bro. So now we're trying to figure out. Charlie's in the league. Yeah. We're trying to.
Nightmare.
The worst nightmare of the site not working is now trying to rearrange 20 people to get in for a second live auction somehow. So. Charlie blames
my God.
slap.
Yeah, it probably was Will Smith's fault. Thanks a lot, Will Smith. You ruined the auction draft. By the way, in Vegas, I got back from Vegas. I talked about that on last night's main podcast show with Deary. If you want to check that out, it's on YouTube or it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. I watched a few auctions in progress, Phil. It was really cool to see these auctions live. We're talking, 15-team auctions. You got an auctioneer, and these people are all serious. We're talking $1,500 entry fees. There was another one that was like a platinum one. It was like even bigger than that. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. It's pretty cool to see all that stuff in action. People who know their shit, putting down big piles of cash to do so. And the prices are fascinating. Like Ty France went for $7. I thought that was a bargain.
It's all relative to the room, and it's like no two drafts are the same, but you got to know what your bid limits are. Mike Gianella does the great bid limits articles on Baseball Prospectus, so you have to have all that stuff locked down before you go into the auction, and then make sure you don't leave any money on the table. Super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and I might butcher this anecdote, but I think it's correct. The how like at the auction your budget's $260 to fill out your team with. What I had heard is that was the initial rotisserie auction league. That was the cost to join, right? So you were literally like taking your entry fee dollars and putting it towards your player that you wanted, if that makes sense, for the season. So I think that's where the 260 comes from for the split.
Oh, okay.
It's always usually always 260. So that's where that number comes from.
Oh, buddy. Dude, that is awesome. I love auctions, and I need to be in more of those going forward. But
fun.
I have to do more prep. I should have been prepping for auctions.
Yeah, it's two different. Well, and then I don't know. It's two different types of stressors. I hate in a snake draft not being able to take somebody. Like if you have somebody that you love and you think they're going to be there and they get taken in front of you,
you get sniped, bro.
Experience. Yeah.
It does happen. It's a tragedy. But, it's also a tragedy. We go on a little bit early sometimes. And today we went on a few minutes before 5. But Jasper knows, and he just said on the chat here, which you could be a part of, the live stream chat. Say what you want. Drop questions. Ask comments. Because today we're talking about AL West prospects, the next big 3 in the AL West for each team, as much as we can get through today. But Jasper said it's all good because he got notified that we went live, which you should be able to do whenever we go live and a show is on the air. If you're subscribed and you click the notification dingy bell, you'll never have to worry if you're missing a show of the Pallazzo Podcast. 2L to Z.
Give me 2.
So, Phil, we're talking AL West today. Next big 3.
Yeah.
Where would you like to start? What team would you like to start with today? Player's choice.
On the big wheel. Houston Astros is going to be our first org to talk about because we're the first ones on my notes list. And Astros are interesting. I actually went on a show with Marty Tallman and Christian Crespo, Triple Play, to talk Astros. Shout out to Devil! Those guys are really cool. Christian had a ton of knowledge about the system. And I kind of left that conversation. I went into it thinking the Astros have gotten light because they've, traded off or graduated a lot of guys, obviously, and they're in a good competing spot now. But then when you start looking through the system, they have some interesting players kind of all over the place. They're an interesting org. They always have a lot of guys in the upper levels that can pop up and contribute. So the big 3, my order of the big 3, which might not match everybody else's, but it's more or less close. Number 3, I have Pedro Leone. Number 3, he was a Cuban international signing. That Houston has kind of tried out at short and center field. There's some questions about where his home's going to be. There's some questions whether he's going to hit for enough power. I think on the Triple Play podcast, we talked about how he has a tendency to be a little passive at the plate. So a lot of counts ending in either looking strikeouts or walks for him so far. And it might just be an adjustment thing, getting used to moving stateside. So I've got Pedro Leon 3rd. I've got the catching prospect, Cory Lee, 2nd. Very athletic catching prospect who looks like he could hit. And I think we said kind of consensus was that he's probably going to get some playing time this year. He probably won't be the primary guy. I think if the Astros are competing, they'll lean on Maldonado a lot, especially down the stretch, the veteran catching presence. That's a really good defender. But Cory Lee's kind of should get a debut this year, may or may not break through that prospect eligibility. But could be a very good player for them. I don't know that he'd be an all-star caliber, but he might be, an everyday regular or above average regular type of player. And then for me, number 1 is Jeremy Pena. He's a guy I've liked for a few years. If you were playing Dynasty 3 or 4 years ago, you had got Pena for nothing. Nobody was rostering him anywhere. He's always been a real good defender, very good with the glove. And I think it says a lot that Houston didn't go out of their way to make sure that they had Correa back or sign one of the other shortstop free agents that were out there this off season, and I think Pena is going to get a lot of the reps at short. And if nothing else, he can handle them defensively. But I think he can really hit too. I think people will be surprised at how well he hits. He's a super athlete, and could be a fantasy relevant guy. Should be a guy you're thinking about at the back end of redrafts for 2022. So those are my big three for Houston.
Ooh, the big three have been revealed. Wow. How about that? Let's go then to the next big three. Who could be the future of this AL West dynamo known as the Houston Astros? They just keep on winning. And by the way, who wins the AL West this year?
Probably Houston again.
Not going to get on the Seattle bandwagon yet? I mean, you got a hat on.
Well, I think I do have the trident on. I love this hat.
This is cool.
It's just a good look for him. Seattle has a great history of hats, really.
They really do. I used to love the 80s hats. That was great.
Yeah,
gold.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they look like a like a semi-pro team, the first ones they put out there. I would think if I'm going to pick against Houston, I think it's maybe the Angels. Like everybody stays healthy and they just have a great season.
I like where your head's at. I've been thinking the same thing. I've been saying I think the Angels will actually make the playoffs. I don't know if they win the division, but with the additional playoff spot, I think the Angels are going to sneak in this year. I really do.
I don't gamble much, but I would be curious as to what their win total line is at right now. I always like looking at those.
Those are fun.
I know Oakland's was a little high, so if you get in on that, I'm sure that's come down. But it was probably too high to begin with. But if I remember from looking at it, but the Angels are weird because they're either going to be 10 games above 500 or 10 games below 500.
They're at 83.5 wins right now. That's the line.
I take the over. I think
I would too.
Yeah.
Astros are 91.5. Mariners are 83. Mariners have the exact same number as the Angels, which is interesting. The A's are at 70.5, and then the Rangers are at 74.5. I think I'll take the over on that 74.5.
Yes. Yeah. That's a tough one. But yeah, I could see that.
They're better than that.
I could see an Oakland under still, and I'm sure that number's come down. I would
actually though. Well, maybe that number will be lower because if you think that the Houston wins the division and the Mariners and the Angels are chasing them neck and neck, then that means the Rangers are fourth. So maybe it doesn't go their way. Okay,
75-ish. Yeah, that's interesting.
It'd be tight. It's a numbers game in the end. It just starts being straight mathematics, like Carlos Marcano. Okay, so the next big three for the Houston Astros are who?
Number 3, I put in Tyler Whitaker. Tyler.
Ooh, I love him.
He was their first pick in the draft this year. They got their punishment draft.
I think I took him in the double deuce.
Okay. Astros lost their first 2 picks, so he was the first guy they took. And even though they took him in the 3rd round, they paid him more like a comp round talent. If the White Sox win 100 plus, I would love that, Jasper. It'd be fantastic. They need some love.
Yeah, that's a big number. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler Whitaker looks like a big-time athlete that could really blow up. Went to Bishop Gorman like Bryce Harper, same high school as Bryce Harper, same high school as Bryson Stott, who's now pushing for – I think we talked about Stott on the show. He's pushing for full-time work out of the gate this year, which is cool.
Bye-bye, Alec Boehm.
Yeah. Bye-bye, Boehm. Oh.
Yeah, it's very sad. Makes me sad.
But look, Tyler Whitaker. Whitaker, a big-time athlete. He's very raw right now. It's the type of thing where he could be a 60 power, 60 run, 30 hit, or he could be a 50 hit, 60 power. So he'll probably be a little ways off, but he's also a guy he could really jump this year if he starts putting stuff together. Should get a taste of full season ball, I would think. So I got Whitaker 3rd. My second guy was the estimated barrels guy that I found on that list, Emmanuel Valdez. So Emmanuel was he's kind of no true defensive home. He could probably play a couple of positions in the infield. But he was hitting the snot out of the ball last year. which is, of course, something that I love for anybody that follows the show. He should be upper level minors guy this year. I don't know if he quite hits the big league club unless they really need him to. But look, he hit 26 home runs last year in 365 at bats. So a guy like that's always going to catch my eye. He also stole some bags. Maybe it gives enough defensive versatility that he can fit into a couple spots. So if he doesn't make it up this year, Emmanuel would be a guy I'd like to be in the top 3 next year. And then my number one dude is a guy I've liked for a while, Colin Barber. He got hurt last year, so we didn't see a ton of him, but he looked good from what we saw, at least from the kind of explosiveness that you want to see from a bat. He's got a very nice left-handed swing and did really well in estimated barrels, did well in estimated xwOBA. So he should be just kind of hanging out in a lot of dynasty leagues, I would think. I think I've been able to grab him pretty much everywhere because nobody was really rostering him. And also, so like his surface line doesn't look superb, right? Because batting average was only 214. But the on base percentage was 365, and he hit for a lot of power in the little bit of time that he played. So lot to like about Barber. I think he could easily be one of their top 3 prospects next year. So he's my 3rd pick, but he's my number 1 pick for the next big 3 for Houston.
There it is. The next big 3 for the Houston Astros. Well done, Phil. Colin Barber. I'm going to have to look into that name. That's an unknown
Check him out.
Name to me. I'm going
Watch
to.
some video.
Like a guy with quality OBP. I love it. By the way, I'll just go back to this real quick because it was asked. How many spring homers does Joe Adell have this spring? I'm sure it's a few, and he looks pretty good right now. Are you on the Joe Adell bandwagon this season? Is this the year he can crack 20 homers at least and play every day?
I mean, there's probably a world where he hits 40 home runs. It could definitely happen. He has the skill to do it. And I think he's tried to change up his swing some in the last couple of years. And from what I think I've seen one spring training home run of his, so I don't want to say anything big, but from what I've seen, it seems to be working for him so far. And he might just have to embrace the power more than the contact. But that might be a worthy trade-off for him because he's got the real deal power. And I think we've talked about it on the show before. There's times where he looks like the best talent on the field against anybody. I'm still a believer. I think this could be the year he goes over 20 home runs. I don't know if he's going to get the playing time to get there or not. I don't know. It's interesting. I think Marsh probably gets more playing time over him because of the glove. Although I don't think Adell's glove is bad. Marsh is the best defensive outfielder on the team now, so that might keep him in the lineup later. And then the problem with Adell too is if he starts swinging and missing a lot, that's a great way to get yourself back down to AAA or sit on the bench for a while, and then it gets harder to get out of the streak. So it could be hit or miss, but there, like I said, I think there is also the chance he hits 40 home runs this year too, which you won't get from Brandon Marsh.
Maybe not. Maybe fuck yourself.
I mean, that's a good answer to that question, really. The ideal answer. By the way, I want to give a shout out here to Bo Michael. He's really not named Bo. His name is Michael, and I just learned that. And I didn't know it was you, Bo. Bo's been asking me fantasy questions for like a year and a half, DMing me. He's the most active question asker on Twitter, I think, without a doubt, when it comes to fantasy baseball. So shout out to you, Michael. Good to have you here, my friend. Long overdue. Anyways, and the Discord is a great place for a guy like you, because if you want to ask questions and maybe I'm busy or I can't get back to you and you want to hear from other people who know their shit, there's a lot of people on our Discord who know their stuff. So it's a great place to just throw out your questions, your trade offers, your lineup decisions. It's all there for you. Anything you want, whenever you want it, on the Pallazzo Podcast Discord. We're live on the air here talking prospects. The next big 3 for the AL West, Phil Goyette. He's Phil of Sports on Twitter. PHIL, of course. MJ Govier on Twitter if you want to follow me. Jasper says 4 or 5 so far this spring, I believe. Well, that's fun. It's fun. I mean,
It's fun, man.
you know, Cody
fun.
Bellinger sucks terribly right now, but I still think he'll have a decent season. I'm not going to just take the spring as gospel. You don't want to get too caught up in that.
No,
But you should take
no.
notice of certain things.
And if, like I said, if Adele's swing change is working for him, then that's a very good thing to take note of. And it sounds like it is. So,
yeah, that's true. There is some truth to that. That's something as a tangible thing that you can grab onto. Let's try. How about the Angels next? We talked about the Angels. Let's do it.
Yeah. I got so their current big three. In third place, I've got Jordan Adams, super athletic outfield prospect with a lot of speed, a lot of power. Yeah, Jordan with a Y. He was actually committed to football to play wide receiver for North Carolina, where I think his dad was a coach. I want to say, I don't know if he was a receivers coach or something at the school. So he was committed to play there. And then he was from North Carolina. I don't know if he's from Cary or he's from near Cary, where they do the USA baseball tryouts, the big Cary tournament. And he went there and just blew everybody's mind. And the next thing you knew, he was getting drafted and signed by the Angels. So tons of upside. Hasn't quite put it all together yet, but it takes time, I think, to figure that stuff out, especially when you're later. I think we talked about this with Ben on the last show. Guys like Brendan Davis type, where you just need to show some patience with them. I still think he's a top 3 prospect in the Angel system. And there's a lot of ways he could impact the game. So Jordan Adams 3, Sam Bachman, number 2, Bachman, Turner, Overdrive, Sam Bachman, Miami of Ohio pitcher. I think he still strikes me a bit reliever-ish. So suppose there's that chance he winds up in the bullpen. But if the Angels can get a starter out of him, then he's could be a superstar. He has that kind of upside. So Bachman is my number 2. And then my number 1, I think there's no doubt with the Angels that Reed Detmers is their top prospect for the next little bit of time until he's graduated.
He jumped up in the main events when I was in Vegas. He was going a lot higher than ADP this past weekend. So if you believe what the Sharps say.
I think it's worth a stab for sure. I could see where that comes from. So
Jasper just jumped on the Discord. Woohoo! Yippee! And he likes Bellinger for the comeback. Well, you're not alone. There's guys, Vlad Sedler is all about it. Vlad is a very good player, knowledgeable. Also saw Rob Silver draft him, I believe. Okay. And this other guy, a very big legend in the NFBC community, Casey Cha. You ever heard of this guy, Phil? Casey Cha?
Yes. Yeah.
He was there. He was there at the draft.
Right?
He didn't say a word. He's a very quiet dude. But I saw him draft twice, a main event and then a platinum, which is a $15,000 entry fee. So I watched that draft. I really watched that draft for a bit before I had to fly out. Yeah. And he took Bellinger in both drafts. He's taking Bellinger everywhere. Casey Cha is a Hall of Fame NFBC player, and he is all about Bellinger. So if you're looking for some validation, that's pretty big.
He's definitely worth, that's the big upside. So if you're going to take the risk like that, I'm cool with it. I don't know. I saw a quote from Dave Roberts today that he's asking Bellinger to be a better hitter. So I don't know. I think a lot of it's mental. He's doing a lot of changing his swing a lot. But then he got hurt. So then you don't know how much of that was a shoulder injury, so I don't know. He also killed me last year in the league. So
he killed me too. So
a little
it hurts, but you gotta be able to get off. You gotta be able to get over that, though. You got to put the past in the past. You do.
Yeah.
Don't get caught up in your emotional ties. Who are the next big 3 for the Angels here? We covered the main 3 currently. Who are the next big 3 for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim of California?
The next big 3, for number 3, I like Jeremiah Jackson. I liked him when the Angels drafted him. He's a prep bat out of Mississippi that I don't think he was super well known when the Angels picked him, but I think he's a really smart ball player. It looks like he takes the game really seriously and that he was focused hard on trying to improve. He still strikes out, right? A little bit too much, but he also has a lot of power at the same time. And I think if he could maybe get out of his head a little bit at the plate, right, and kind of let his swing come a little more naturally to him, I think the power is there. If he's just focusing on that and letting his athleticism show a little bit as opposed to overthinking stuff. So he excites me there. I think he's a shortstop. I think he can play shortstop long term. He could be a long-term shortstop answer for the Angels. So watch out for him this year. If he starts putting that together, striking out at like a 25% strikeout rate, he's going to have a really good line. So Jeremiah Jackson's my number 3. My number 2 is this kid they took called Kai Bush. So he's a left-handed, hulking left-handed pitching prospect that kind of bounced around a lot in college. I think he pitched for like 3 different schools in college. But he's like 6'6", 240, and he seemed like a lefty. I don't want to say junk baller, but more like a cerebral lefty than a stuff lefty. But then post-draft, the velocity's ticked up, and I've seen reports as high as 96 in some outlets. So if he can throw that hard this year, he's going to jump up the rankings, I would think. So watch for Kai Bush.
He was a second-round pick last year. So.
Yes.
Pretty high.
Yep. And Angels obviously saw something they liked in him or saw something mechanically they thought they could unlock the velocity with. So, and then my number 1 is the guy I'd be taking a stab on in this system in a lot of leagues, although he's probably owned in a lot for the same purpose. I don't think he's like an unknown, but Alexander Ramirez, who was an international signing in 2018. Got $1 million to sign, even though he was just turned 16. And
he made $1 million.
Yeah, he got a $1 million signing bonus. Yep. He's got.
You don't know who that's from? That doesn't ring a bell.
Oh no, you lost me.
He made $1 million. That's from Office Space. That guy who's trying to make the jump to conclusions game.
I haven't watched that one in a long time. I haven't watched that one since it was on Comedy Central once a week growing up in high school.
Oh, yeah. That was a while ago.
The same 10 movies. So, yeah, Alexander Ramirez, I think he might be taken already. If he's not taken, he's a very good player to take a stab on. Different Alexander Ramirez. This is the Angels Alexander Ramirez.
Okay.
He was their international signing. He's got a ton of power. Posts high exit velocities, shows well on my estimated barrels. So he'd be a guy I'd watch. Same kind of thing. If he can get the strikeout rate under control, bring it down 5 to 10%, he's going to do a ton of damage offensively because he can already hit the ball really hard and he's still young. So he's my number 1
Only
guy
19.
to take a look this year. Yep.
Okay.
So those are my next big 3 for the Angels.
Woohoo! Yay! Woo-hoo! Go Angels, go! What do they say at the park? I've never been to an Angels game, so I don't know. Michael wants to know thoughts on some young arms in spring training, real quickly. Green, Gore, and Keller. I assume that's Hunter Green, Mackenzie Gore, and Mitch, not Brad. I would assume.
Yeah, Mitch ain't no bitch, Keller.
That's right.
I saw today Hunter Green is still in the running for a rotation spot. Green and Lodolo,
I don't believe it.
Both are saying in Cincy.
I was thinking Lodolo gets it, but
I don't know if they're trying to keep the kids happy or what. Yeah, or maybe I don't think either of them are getting a ton of innings this year, right? So I don't know why they would put a lot of innings on either of those guys' arms this year. They probably both are about 100 to 125.
Okay.
Cincinnati's not going to be playing for anything, I don't think. So I don't think they're going to be burning those arms. If they find themselves in the playoff race, maybe potentially, but but Green, there's nothing really not to like other than whether his arm can hold up. So
Matthew says Lodolo isn't on the 40 man and Green is on the 40 man. So that's an interesting point. Thank you, Matthew Z. Always there. There you go. That's smart. Thank you, Matthew Z. Always there when we need you. What about Mackenzie Gore?
Green is if the arm holds up, but the stuff is just fantastic. Yeah, return of the Mac Gore. I can't say this anecdote again. Isn't Mackenzie a girl's name? Anyway, so Mackenzie Gore looks like he's. I used to date a girl.
Mackenzie Phillips?
Once upon a time. Yeah. So Mackenzie Gore, it looks like the command is a lot better this spring. Stuff's good. 96, 97. The breakers he's always had a feel for spin. I still don't know about the delivery. I think that there's just maybe too much. A lot of people see the delivery and like it. I think maybe there's too much going on, and if he gets a little wonky, he's going to be way off. So, but look, San Diego hasn't popped them yet in the bigs. They had some opportunities to do it, so they're definitely waiting until the time is right and they feel like it's a good time. And maybe it's right now because he's in a good spot, good headspace. And then Mitch Keller's touching 100, so I don't know what to make out of this guy. His fastball's always been hard, and he's always had a pretty good curve. But the fastball,
terrible command.
Once he got to the higher levels, it really got tattooed. I don't know if it's something in the delivery where it's just too easy to pick up, or it's too flat, or it sometimes it can have a little tail coming back in where it's catching too much of the plate. Something, but the fastball got brutalized by AAA pitchers once upon a time. So, but if that's changed and he's able to backspin it better or something, or just throwing it 100 gets there, then he's a guy probably a lot of people were drafting, I would think, redraft. I just caught him in Dynasty, so hopefully that wasn't a huge mistake. We only get to keep 50.
He was drafted in the main event.
Yeah.
Yep. Mitch Keller definitely drafted. He was rising up charts. He's throwing 100. Everybody sees the videos. His hype train is rolling. Yeah. And Michael also says, does Gore make the rotation? I say no, he does not. Nick Martinez is penciled in right now as number 5. I've seen Nick Martinez drafted at the main events, although people did draft Gore too. So it could go either way. If Gore impresses here towards the very end, he's going to really need to push it and right now and making it happen. So if he doesn't, then it's back to the minors.
Yeah, I can't think of their whole rotation. You got Musgrove,
you got Darvish, Darvish, Musgrove,
Clevenger's
Snell,
back,
and Clevenger. Those 4 are locked in.
Clevenger. Yeah. What about Paddock?
There's only one.
Paddock would be your fifth.
And then and then Paddock, exactly.
Yeah. I don't see why Gore would jump over Paddock as a fifth, especially in like a fifth starter role. Paddock might do really well if you only need him for 5 innings or something. He's better maybe in that situation. So. I agree with you. No.
Oh, hey, Luke's here. Luke's like my best friend. He's known me 25 years. Hey, Luke. Did he already have TJ, Luke? I don't know.
I don't know if Mackenzie Gore did or not. I don't think he has.
I don't think he has. Yeah, I don't think he has. I think he's just been terrible. Pretty sure of that. I feel confident in that. So.
Well, he was extremely good. He had an extremely good season and then an extremely rough one. So.
That's true. But I don't believe he had TJ. 100 miles per hour is a first-class ticket to the orthopedic surgeon. Maybe you're talking about Mitch Keller here. Mitch Keller may have had TJ. I'm not sure of that. I'll have to double-check on that.
I'm not sure of that one either.
But I don't feel like he did. But yes, 100 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Look at Jacob DeGrom. Jacob DeGrom has reduced his velocity to start this year. He's only throwing 98. And he's saying he's doing that intentionally right now. So,
yeah. Remember, Tanaka pitched for the Yankees with the partially torn UCL for like 5 or 6 years. So, and he was
he never got the surgery.
So,
That's right. Yeah. Okay, well, God, we're way over. The show's over. We'll have to finish the rest of the AL West next time. It's the Pallazzo Prospects Power half hour, not hour. But we got great engagement from you guys. We love having you here. Thanks for all the commentary, and thank you for correcting us and fixing things when we need to have that. Don't forget the Discord, the Patreon are available to you. You can find all that by going to Pallazzo Podcast Twitter handle, 2 L's, 2 Z's.
Utah, give me 2.
Follow Phil on Twitter, Phil of Sports. Ask more questions. There's going to be more people sent down. We'll have minors starting soon. Who's going to make the team? Real quickly right now, on this day before we leave, Green and Torkelson, both on the opening day roster, yes or no?
Go Tigers.
No. Maybe.
No.
Maybe. I don't know that Torque will even be. Maybe. I don't know. Why not hold
I've said
them
the
down?
exact same thing.
Why not get the other extra year? They didn't do really anything in the CBA to address it completely, right?
That is exactly my point. It's still the same shit.
Take a risk of him being in the top of the Rookie of the Year voting in order to get an extra pick or something. I don't know. I don't think it's worth it. I just keep him down till April. What is the deadline going to be? I guess it won't be April 15th, but May 1st or something.
Yeah, it'll be extended a little bit farther. Jasper says change it to an hour. Yes, I know, Jasper. Well, the whole point is for it to be brief and quick. We don't want to commit too much, but
it loses the power. The power's in the half hour. The power's in the half hour. Yes.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, we want to keep you wanting more, guys. That's the whole thing, right? Hey, that's right. String them along like addicts. Okay. Torque Green will be in the minors. That's my opinion. Phil seems to basically agree with me. Other people on Twitter were saying, Phil, other people on Twitter said that they're going to be on the roster because they face the White Sox to start the season. I'm like, so what? They're going to play the White Sox 21 times. I just don't buy that as the reason.
Oh, yeah. That great early April weather in Detroit. I'm sure they want them there.
Entertaining as hell. Thank you, Michael. Wow, we're getting really complimented here. You guys are blowing smoke up our asses. Believe in yourselves.
This is like starting to get deep.
All right, we're out of here. For Phil, I'm Michael Govier. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you guys next time.